Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections. I am Sophie Bidard, your host on this special event to demystify psychic abilities and how to access them now. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to join us today, bringing your unique energy that pours into our circle of connection. Your presence here honors the calling within you to expand your psychic perception, which is what our guest, Godelieve Wheeler, will be sharing with us about today, and that's going to be fascinating and revealing for sure. So let's begin. Take a moment to let go of anything that doesn't serve this present moment. With each breath, feel yourself arriving more fully here. As we set our intention, may all that flows within our sacred space, be it words, vibrations, energies, serve the highest evolution of our souls and extend outward in service to all. I invite you to open your heart and your mind to receive all the brilliance that awaits. Activating your connection to the new Earth crystalline grid and to the galactic center, the center of truth. You are perfectly held, both grounded and lifted. You are safe. You can relax. You are ready and open to receive. Now I'm calling the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and placing the orb of grace around our gathering, each and every one of us. That we be held in this orb of grace and infused with grace all along our time together. As grace permeates our field, it harmonizes and magnifies all that seeks alignment and illuminates all that longs for expression in accordance with divine will and the order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Within the orb of grace, I'm delighted to welcome Godelieve Wheeler, a powerful, multidimensional energy reader and seer, heightened, multisensory intuitive mentor, and much more. What a blessing to have you with us today, Godelieve. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be back in the orb of grace. I love it. I've been looking forward to today and connecting to everyone's hearts. Yes, I'm happy to be here and see where this conversation goes today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So everyone, Godelieve will share insights on demystifying psychic abilities and how to access them now. And she will also offer live intuitive readings. So to request your reading, press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Godelieve, or place your request in the Q&A box on the web. And here's how you're going to request your reading. You need to pick one of your Clair abilities: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairgnosis, or clairsentience, and ask Godelieve, what's my number one block to accessing this Clair? So you need to mention it, right? Make sure to specify which Clair you want a reading for from Godelieve, and she will do the reading for that Clair. So that's going to be in a little while. For now, let's dive into our fascinating topic. And I'd like to begin with asking you, Godelieve, is there anything you want to share about psychic abilities before we start exploring what's blocking them?
Well, I do want to go into some detail about some of the mistakes that people make when trying to use and develop their abilities, and then kind of follow that progression so people can kind of go on that mental journey and
Right.
So if you want,
So
I can start with, okay.
Let's start with the first and the biggest mistake that we tend to make when we try to use or develop these abilities.
Yeah, so usually the very first mistake people make when they try to use or develop their abilities is if it doesn't immediately produce success or desired results, most of us automatically take on a really disempowering, erroneous perspective. So you automatically think something is somehow wrong with you, or that you are somehow deficient or not good enough or unworthy even, because you think, why else would my guides not speak to me, right? So you think your guides aren't speaking to you, for example, and therefore there must be some reason why. So mistake number one is this erroneous perspective that has you believing or assuming right off the bat that something is inherently wrong with you, or that you are somehow not gifted, you're not psychic, you're not whatever, you're not good enough in some way to receive this information even. So even if you don't think that consciously, if you've ever noticed how you feel, that's where the truth lays. So when you feel a little deflated or disappointed when you attempt to get a message, let's say, and you feel unsuccessful, that feeling of disappointment or deflation, that is what's showing you that you have this erroneous perspective that's connected to deep beliefs about yourself. And when this happens, when you do this, when you have this perspective, it does two things in particular. One, it immediately reduces your access to supersensory information because it restricts or even cuts off completely sometimes those clear pathways. And it does this by shifting your vibrational alignment and creating tension in your field, which restricts the flow and openness of your pathways. The second thing it does is it creates incoherence and noise in your space and field, because then, of course, you start having a lot of unhelpful thoughts and doubts arise, right? And this makes it very difficult for clear psychic information to come through and get through all of that noise. And when you do this, it also brings up parts of yourself that reinforce an old narrative, an old identity of someone who is not psychically open and connected. So it just reinforces that same old experience. So it's not helpful, not helpful at all. And by far, this is one of the most common and disempowering pitfalls that so many right out the gate experience when they begin to experiment with their psychic pathways or supersensory abilities. So it's a really pervasive mistake that is so often overlooked and that really keeps so many people stuck.
Yeah, for sure. So what would you say to someone who is making this mistake and who feels like they don't have any psychic or spiritual abilities?
Yeah, good question. Well, the first thing I would say is some understanding is needed here first. So our supersensory abilities are a part of our nature as energy beings. We are all born with them. They come with us as a spiritual being, and we have these abilities before birth, and we still have them then after we leave our physical bodies. So these are abilities of our energetic nature as spiritual beings that are absolutely accessible while embodied in the physical realm. So it's never a matter of if you have them. It's just that most of us kind of get muddled up during the human embodiment experience and either forget we have them or we just don't know that they're even there, right? But they're still there, just laying dormant or simply ignored. But these are very intimate parts of ourselves, right? They're very intimate parts of yourself, and I really encourage you to think of them as intimate parts of you, even if they're out of shape or out of use right now, right? These are integral parts of you as an energy being. So if this is true, that these abilities come with us inherently as a spiritual being, then you can't not have them. So part of what I'm on a mission to do is to show people that these are innate capacities that we are born with, that just lay dormant for the most part until they are consciously acknowledged and exercised. And, you know, really because the rough-in is there, so to speak, right? To use a plumbing analogy, the plumbing is already roughed in. It's just, when was the last time you turned on the tap?
Yeah.
right? And the majority of people don't even know where the tap is or even that they have one. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But that is, sorry to interrupt you, Godelieve, but
That's okay, yeah.
this is really a game changer, this knowing that it is innate, right? And that we all have it.
Absolutely.
I know because it changed the game for me. I heard you say that. I've learned this from you. And I know that every now and then it comes back to me. You know, there are moments when we all doubt, or we doubt our abilities, or maybe we doubt someone else's abilities, or, well, who knows, maybe they don't have it, right? No, we all have it. And it is so important to really receive this. Maybe that's the key takeaway. I'm sure there's going to be many more key takeaways from today, but that's one to start with. And because it's a whole different story to ask ourselves, okay, how do I bring them? How do I awaken them? How do I expand them? Then to question or to be lost even in the contemplation of, do I have them? Do I not have them? And to get lost in that. So I wanted to make this very, very clear for everyone. It is innate. It is natural. Everybody has them. It's just a matter of activating them. And you're there for us. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for emphasizing that is a powerful new perspective. And once you kind of take on that new perspective, then then you step onto the playing field. But before you have that perspective, you're sitting on the sidelines or in the bleachers, looking at other people who are playing and doing it. But it's not until that you take on this new perspective that you can then step onto the playing field. And the last thing, so thank you again for emphasizing that. That is a very key takeaway, probably the biggest takeaway for today. So thank you for that. What I also wanted to add about that, though, or in the question is, many people, in fact, are using their super senses on a daily basis even. But in my experience, there is such a lack of awareness and acknowledgement of it. So many are using their super senses without realizing or acknowledging them. And a really big part of what can make a more immediate difference or opening of your psychic abilities is bringing some of that which is in that subconscious background awareness and bringing it forward into conscious awareness. So beginning to what I call retrain your brain to stop filtering out that information and start allowing it in. And just learning how to retrain your brain on its own can be such a powerful catalyzer of your psychic abilities. So just learning how to bring that information forward out of the subconscious peripheral and into conscious acknowledgement is really essential in psychic development.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So why we all have them now? Why are so many people unsuccessful? Why are so many people frustrated? So many when trying to tune in and to receive psychic insights?
Such a good question. Okay, so big reveal here. It's a mindset shift. What if there was nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with your abilities, but what if you just had stuff in the way that's preventing you from accessing the information and pathways that is there for you all the time? So a couple of analogies I often use here is, imagine trying to feel a feather with mud caked all over your hands, right? The feather is there. The psychic information is there. You just have stuff blocking or clogging your sensory ability. The other analogy that I really like is trying to see through a windshield in a car and expecting to see clearly right away of a car that you've never driven before, and it's been sitting there parked for decades. And so it has decades worth of dirt, debris, maybe some bird poop, some bugs, leaves, all kinds of stuff on it, right? And you really want now to see what's through the windshield. You want to see clearly through the windshield. But of course you can't. And then when you can't see through it, you feel kind of defeated and deflated, like something is wrong with you that you can't see through that windshield, right? So it's ridiculous, right? And it doesn't help, yet we do it. So this is how I see it. Trying to use your gifts without clearing what's in the way first is the reason why so many people attempt to develop their psychic abilities, but then feel frustrated when they try and then they give up. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people just stay stuck.
Yeah.
So instead of keeping to try to see through the dirty windshield, like keep banging your head against the wall in frustration, what's a better approach, right? Knowing that stuff gets in the way of accessing our gifts and accessing supersensory information, then probably the biggest thing interfering with you accessing more of your gifts, first of all, is not even knowing what's blocking access to your gifts in the first place, right? So it brings so much clarity, understanding, and ahas when you discover what's blocking or restricting flow in your pathways uniquely for you, because it's absolutely different for each person. It's been my experience from looking at so many people's pathways that even if two people experience the exact same trauma, for example, it might manifest in their psychic pathways entirely differently for each person. But once you know what's there, then you're empowered that you can then do something about it.
Yes, and that's where we are so blessed to have you to look into what's there, right? Because I want to bring the focus on you as an intuitive Godelieve just for a moment. You are a multidimensional energy reader and seer. So does that mean that you have all the clairs fully active and you have a specialty as a clairaudient, or how does it work for you before we get into the intuitive reading? So we know a bit more about you.
That's a really interesting question. So yes, I'm using all of my primary clair pathways pretty equally at this point and beyond. I'm using other abilities as well. It didn't always happen that way. I was born mostly very clairsentient, very clairvoyant, extremely clairvoyant, but really shut down at an early age my clairsentient pathway. And I didn't actually really open up that pathway in particular until much later in life. So I won't get into too much details about it, but I do want to address your question. So as you progress on the path of opening up your abilities, and there's a lot involved in that, right? Eventually, they all start turning on because you start clearing all the pathways out, right? And they all start working so collaboratively together that eventually you get to a point like where I am today where I couldn't tell you exactly which clair I'm using the most because they're all contributing so much to the answer. So not only am I seeing your pathways, I'm also knowing what's going on. I'm feeling the energy in it. I'm hearing, stuff. So it's like all at once. It's a very supersensory, multisensory experience when I do readings now, where it wasn't always the case.
Okay,
yeah, for a long time, I just saw clairvoyantly, but I couldn't feel into the energetics the way I do now very, very strongly.
And that's how it's meant to be, right? That we all our clairs are awakened, available, and they come into play in the best way, whatever is the best way that works to deliver the insights, the information, the wisdom. This is how it's going to work, and it just operates itself, I guess, right?
Well, not necessarily. So there are many things that affect, how you express your clairs, and one of the big categories that I teach about is your soul plan and your natural makeup. Right? So it may be your path in this lifetime that you chose in to be, let's say, a really powerful either energy healer or a really powerful clairvoyant or a psychic medium or an animal. Like you may choose, for example, to really lean into one clair pathway strongly. So a lot of my students, they come to me and it's very clear that they are born with a natural orientation that is meant to be opened up and really developed in this lifetime in particular. So one in particular, right? For example, a lot of mediums or channels that very, very gifted and very geared towards clairaudience, let's say, right? So they may not be very clairvoyant at all. right?
Right.
So, and that's okay. So it all depends on also your purpose and your soul plan. That also has a big effect. But that being said, you absolutely, from where you are now, you absolutely can develop all your abilities. It's just, it becomes a choice at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful to have you today, Godelieve, because these readings are going to be just absolutely amazing. You're going to bring all your Clairs, and it's going to be a great, great show of Clair abilities. So I think now is a good time to get personal with the readings. Are you good to go?
Maybe I would just say one last thing. If someone feels stuck, where they should start looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I would like to just give a little bit of that. So, becoming aware of what is getting in the way is key and should be the first place you kind of look when you're at that point where you feel like you're stuck, right? So if you keep getting stuck every time you try to get a message from your guides, you feel you get nothing and you just get frustrated. You need to stop banging your head against this wall and ask a different question. So instead of why can't I hear my guides or why can't I get a message, start asking yourself, what's in the way of me receiving the messages? And that is when everything begins to change and new ahas can finally come in. So said in other words, the first step is becoming conscious of what's been holding you back all this time. What's blocking access? What's restricting your psychic pathways? What's going on in those pathways when the energy comes in? Does the information get twisted and distorted? Is one of your pathways really blocked, or is it perhaps just a bit atrophied from long time lack of use? Essentially, it's incredibly useful to know what the status of your Clair pathways are. And it's the reason why I started doing psychic pathways assessment readings for people. And, I started witnessing the profound impact and increase in awareness it brings. Because when you know what's going on with those pathways, then you can take measures to clear them out or bring back vitality to those parts of yourself, those pathways and abilities. Like when you discover, for example, that there's an old programming from your mother in your clairvoyant pathway that says you're not allowed to see these things, you don't have permission, then you can address it and clear it, right? But if you're completely unaware of its existence and how it's been affecting your abilities, this block is just going to stay there blocking your clairvoyance. You see?
Absolutely. Yeah,
no pun intended there. I said you see.
I see because you spell it for us, so I hear you and I see. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a tricky situation to be if we didn't have your help and your support and your mastery, because with our Clairs not yet open, right, and in the state of dormancy or stuckness, we may ask questions, and we may ask this key question that you gave us: what's in the way of me receiving? But if there's something in the way of receiving, we may not get our answer. So it is so essential to have you go and look at what's in the way, right? Especially, I invite everybody to ask, and maybe you may be surprised by what you receive, and to find out that, actually you receive more than you thought, or than you assumed, and that you experienced in the past. But having you, Godelieve, to go and have a look and see and feel and know what's going on there is really going to be so supportive, because yes, with you, we get a map. We get a map of what's going on, and we can make an action plan. Where do we begin? What's next? And we can move forward intentionally. So I'm really delighted. Let's get started. We all want to know what's preventing our psychic perception. So again, for everyone to request your reading, press *2 on the phone, or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Godelieve, or place your request in the Q&A box on the web and ask Godelieve, what's my number one block to accessing this Clair? And you need to specify, make sure to specify, let Godelieve know you want a reading on your clairvoyance or clairaudience or clairgnosis or clairsentience. With that, we're going to... Yes, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I say just a couple of things. So today, you choose which pathway, and I'll zoom in on that one. I'll look at that. When I do the full psychic pathways assessment in the program, it's much more in-depth. So not only do I look at all of the pathways, but in these mini readings, I'm going to look at that pathway that you're requesting I look at. I'm going to tell you the first thing, that number one thing that stands out at me. There's a lot that I see in each of your psychic pathways. And so in the full psychic pathways assessment, not only do I tell you what I see, but I go deep into that block or resistance to reveal to you not only the block, but what it is, how it got there, what's behind it, why it's still there. And there's a PDF worksheet that comes with it, the assessment, to help you make notes and fill that out. So it's very in-depth. Not only do I identify the blocks, but I identify why they're there, where they came from. So that's incredibly powerful information. But today I'm going to look at whichever pathway that you would like me to look at, and I'm going to just tell you one of the things that I see in that particular pathway.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you for this precision. What's the number one block? Okay, let's go. We're going to go first to South Perth in West Australia with Sonia. I'm unmuting you, Sonia. Hello.
Hello. Hi there.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Sonia. Yes, welcome. Hi.
Hi there. It's good to be on. What's my number one block in receiving my claircognizance?
Okay, so let me look at that clairgnosis pathway for Sonia. Okay, so immediately as a part of that pathway I'm looking at that crown chakra, and there's just kind of like a thick kind of beam of like denser energy that's coming in and kind of going down right below the eyes. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more, to give you a little bit more information on the nature of that. Sometimes I can go really deep here, but I just want to tell you, okay. So a fair amount of information is coming in, but when I look at the pathway of that information, it really gets kind of squished into this dense kind of column. It does get deep enough where it hits awareness, but it's received further back. So there's a point in there in that pathway where I can tell how much is reaching conscious awareness. And quite a bit of it is not reaching conscious awareness. However, it's coming in. So that tells me you're connected to some deep wisdom. And this may express as just kind of like a deep subconscious knowing. But a lot of that is ready to become into conscious awareness now. Just as I'm saying, I'm getting goosebumps. So about 80% of that is unconscious in your conscious mind, right? Where you'd be able to be like me, where I, just know things about people and places and situations, and I can just immediately, it's in my awareness, I can share it. For you, a lot of that isn't yet conscious. However, it is deeply seated. So if you don't join the program, you're going to want to journal and look at that. But I highly recommend the program, because then I can really go into details on why that's there, where it's coming from, and of course we have a powerful workshop. But that's what I immediately see for you, hon.
That's great, thank you. I'm sorry, I did miss the beginning. I came in a bit late. Have you spoken about the program? I know.
Not yet, Sonia. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. I was going to specify that, yes, we're going to get some readings done by Godelieve, and then she's going to share about how she's here to support us with a very, very comprehensive and solid program for everyone. So stay on the line and listen.
Okay, that would be fantastic. And would you also advise if the program is live? If you do it live, what time? Because I'm in Western Australia, or if it's not going to be. Programs normally don't work out for me in Western Australia. So, but I suppose they'll be replayed, I'm sure. Mm.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it shouldn't be a problem, because the majority of the core elements are recorded, and so you can access them at a time convenient for you. And then I have live components put in. So, for example, the one-on-one I'll explain it, but everyone gets a one-on-one in the program with me, and that I schedule with you. And of course, we have a live class, but also even if you can't make it to a live class, you can always send me your questions privately by email or in advance, and I will answer them by recording and send them to you. So I always
so you're taken care
very
of.
important.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're so important questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay with us. Okay. Yeah, I know Godelieve takes care of every aspect and of everyone in every aspect. So we're in good hands. We're in very good hands.
My honor and my passion. I love it.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to have on the line Tatiana. I don't have your location. You're on the web call. Let's try to have you on the line, Tatiana. Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Yes. Hello everyone. I
Hello,
love
Tatiana.
that subject. Hello. I'm from UK.
Okay. Welcome.
Yes, I'm British Ukrainian, but I'm from UK. And my question is, I did the Akashic Records reading, and they said, oh, you have this talent and this and this and this and this. And I thought to myself, apart from good intuition and receiving this knowing that I just know things, I don't see anything I can use right now. Like, as you say, it may be blocked, or maybe I need just to work on something to kind of discover something inside me.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're at the point now, sorry, it won't take too long, where it's what I call, you're using vague intuition. So that tells me you have a natural openness in your pathways, but you haven't accessed them yet. So you haven't actively exercised them. It's like a muscle that just is kind of out of shape. But if you're already have a good knowing, then it's time for you to just start exercising those muscles. And that takes some learning on how to apply them, how to discover your gifts, right? It's like they're just books sitting on a shelf waiting for you to pick them up. Right, hon? So which pathway would you like me to read for you?
Well, I want to create my YouTube channel. So I would like to help people energetically. And someone told me that I already am a medium, but I don't read. I cannot read things,
Okay, so do you want me, which pathway do you want me to look at? Just pick one of the four? Otherwise, I'll just pick one myself.
Yes, pick one that you feel the strongest, please.
All right, so let me just look at Tatiana and see what first wants to come. Okay, so firstly, because you said mediumship too, I'm going to look at that clairaudient pathway. So I'm going to just look at that clairaudient pathway and what happens. Okay, so immediately in your ear, there's quite it's a high-pitched and it's quite an intense energy, because I'm hearing the sound of it too. And this is a block, and it goes right in to the ear canal, to the physical ear even. And so it kind of has almost like a reddish kind of hue to it also. And then we just track some energy through that. Yeah, so that is a block, and it's blocking, I would say, about 75% of the energy to actually come in. So basically the energy comes in through this is like a narrow block. Energy comes in, and then really about 75% of it gets completely blocked, completely blocked. So there's that energy, and my natural tendency is I'm wanting to go deeper and tell you more, but I'm going to stop there.
I was going to say, I was going to say, Godelieve, in the private session, you would go into what's the root cause, where did it start, and everything that is needed in order for Tatiana to clear it, right?
Yeah, so that's the difference between a block that actually needs your conscious awareness. Some of the blocks I see, I can just, and you may know this because you're interested in energy healing, I can just remove it myself, or the person, I can just walk them through how to do it themselves, and I can witness them remove it themselves. But that's kind of energy that you need conscious awareness of. There's something in there that you need to know before it to be resolved in that kind of block. Yeah. And that's connected to your mediumship, so.
Okay.
Sorry, got disconnected a little bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tatiana. Stay with us to hear all about the session and the whole program. Thank you. Blessings. Okay. let's go next. We are going to Pennsylvania with Deborah. I'm unmuting you. Deborah, hello. Hi, Deborah. Deborah.
Hi.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Thank you so much. I'm
Yeah,
great.
you're welcome.
So I'm wondering, was going to say visually, but I'm really getting strong clairaudience to ask about, because I have this no often.
Sorry, you said you have the knowing often?
Yes, I have a knowing, and I get things a lot.
Okay, so I'm just curious, why are
that,
you associating that with your clairaudience? I think this would be beneficial for everyone to hear.
It seems like there's an energetic connection with my clairaudience.
Yeah. So it's so important to understand. One of the first things when we start doing psychic development is most people aren't even, we think we know what they are. Most people aren't even aware about what each of the clair pathways are and what each one is connected to. So your knowing can come from many different places. Usually clairaudience is in the form of either voices, sounds, words, things like that, right? Most people, when they say they have the knowing, it's usually related to either their clairgnosis or their clairsentience. But if you like, I can still read your clairaudience unless you want to change it.
Whatever you're getting.
Okay.
I'm open to whatever you're getting.
I will look at, let's say I will look at that clairsentience. Okay, so I'm looking at that clairsentience pathway. Okay, so immediately I'm being drawn to the heart, right deep in the center of the heart. So there's about the size of a walnut, a kind of dense energy that has like a pain to it. So this sounds very common, but there is a not wanting to fully let the information in. So it's like a protective energy in the heart there. And so that is the first thing that I see that I want to share.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay,
thank
you
so
Deborah.
much. Blessings.
Blessings. Thank you. Yeah. Very intriguing what you get to perceive. Godelieve. Okay. Thank you for being with us to share all of this. Let's go next. I don't have your location, Teresa, but you're next on the web call. Teresa, unmuting you. Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Teresa. Yes, hello, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I have a knowing. I just know things. I don't know why I know them. I just know them. And I would like to know what is my number one block to accessing my clairaudience, because I heard a voice clear as day one time, and I haven't been able to hear it again.
Yeah, so that's really common actually. Okay, so let me look into Teresa, that clairaudient pathway. Okay, so when I'm looking at the energy in that clairaudient pathway, there's a spiraling. So it kind of comes into your pathway and it spins and spirals. And so just as I'm witnessing, it kind of gets twisted. And it's like when it comes into when I'm seeing like where you would actually be consciously hearing the voice, then it gets really obscured and wispy. And so I can imagine why you say, why I don't really hear it all the time or haven't heard it again, because there's something in there that's causing the energy, the information to spin and then just kind of wisp away as I'm witnessing it. So you definitely want to find out why is that pathway twisting that energy and why is it avoiding becoming conscious. So that's what I see there for you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Something to ponder. Thank you, Teresa. Blessings.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We'll come back to more live callers. I want to take a few requests from the Q&A before we have you share about this brilliant package program that you're offering to support everyone. So let's go for now. We're going to Schomburg with Andrea. Andrea asked, what's the number one block to accessing my clairvoyance?
Okay, Andrea, let me look at that clairvoyance pathway for you. Okay, so as I'm looking at pathway and as I kind of looking it through your eyes too, so the perimeter in particular, because there's many things I look at in this pathway in particular, but that third eye chakra, there's a bit of a rim, a thick rim around the edge of that chakra that kind of prevents it from fully being dynamic and modulating the way it's intended to be. So there's like a restriction on how much you can see, right? But what I'm also seeing is that, you know, there's quite a bit of flow. So I feel like you may have been you have already been practicing your clairvoyance, because in the center of that pathway there's quite a bit of movement. I see a few other things there that I won't get into, but the number one thing that I want to say is that thick band around the perimeter of that third eye chakra is restricting the amount that you can see. So that's what I want to share with you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Blessings. Thank you, Andrea. Now we are going to Coromandel in New Zealand with Jennifer. And Jennifer asks, what's my number one block to accessing my clairaudient ability?
Okay. Clairaudience. What was her name again? Sorry?
Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer, and your clairaudience. Okay, so in that one ear, it looks like your left ear, there's like a kind of chunky, this is what I would call a classic block, because it even looks almost like that shape of like a rectangular. It doesn't extend through the entire pathway. Just so you know, looks like it's kind of like 4 inches-ish. And so it's kind of wedged in, and in particular that one side, that one ear. And it's fairly dense, and that's obviously restricting the flow of information through that clairaudience pathway. So this is a block. And if you have the full assessment with me or take the program with me, then we get into, okay, why is the block there? How did it get there, and how to remove it. That's the number one thing that I wanted to share with you there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Blessings. Okay, we are going to Baldwin Place, New York with Seema. And Seema asks, what's my number one block to accessing my clairvoyance?
Okay, Seema, looking into that clairvoyance pathway of Seema. Okay, so kind of in the bottom of that clairvoyance pathway, it kind of looks like a kind of murkiness. So not exactly blocking everything, but I feel like maybe when you try to visualize things or try to see things, it's like creating this real murkiness, so it's difficult for images to show up clearly. So that's what I'm seeing there. That kind of shows up right away. It's this kind of like thick kind of, it's kind of like a crescent shape in the lower part of that pathway that I'm looking at. And it just is like a screen in front of the psychic information that makes things appear kind of obscure or unclear. So that's, if you're experiencing that, that's why, because that's what I'm seeing there for you.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Seema. Blessings. All right. We're going to Georgetown. We have Jennifer again. Yeah, another Jennifer in Georgetown now. Now, Jennifer didn't specify which Clair, so can you tune in and look into and tell her what's the number one block to whichever?
Yeah, so let me just
up.
look at Jennifer in Georgetown. And okay, so first of all, I just look at which light suffers that wants to be shared, that clairgnosis pathway that really wants to open up more now. So there's like a long energy that's it's blocking a fair amount. And I think that's probably why your guides are wanting you to address this now, because it can make such a big difference. But it's really sitting in almost the full length of that pathway as I'm looking at it, and it's just blocking a lot of information from even coming in. So sometimes I see people, the information comes in, but it's blocked right at the consciousness level. But this is blocking a lot of information from even coming in. But I do see that some information is making conscious awareness, but there's a lot more in terms of what's possible for you now. So I want to share that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. Let's go. Let's go to the UK. Let me see. Where is my person? Rachel. Rachel in Hertfordshire in the UK. And Rachel asked, what's the number one block to accessing my Clair audience?
It's a popular one today. Okay, Rachel, let me look at your Clair audience pathway for Rachel. Okay, so I'm seeing close to your physical ear. It's almost like a spongy kind of texture in the shape of like almost like a flower with petals. Like it's just like a spongy. And so this is usually indicative to me of not wanting to hear something, right? So there's, I would put this, it's a block / resistance. It's like, it's not super dense. So not so, not difficult, by any means to remove, but it does need your awareness, but then I think it can be cleared quite easily. But that's what I see for you. So this almost like this kind of, like you just kind of, I feel like it came from you also. So subconsciously, obviously, but you at a young age placed this kind of like muffling energy in your ear to kind of reduce what you heard. So it's like a sponge kind of like you just kind of like the energy to kind of muffle the sound, muffle that pathway, right? And there's many, many, many reasons why children do that.
Yeah.
So that's what
Some
I
of
see.
which include getting in trouble because of sharing what they heard and then not wanting to, like, if I can't share it or if it brings me trouble, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
right?
or even an imaginary friend. You used to speak with an imaginary friend, and then you just, as you grow older, you just got told so many times it's not real, and so how do you deal with that as a child? How do you resolve that? Well, you stop wanting to hear it because it causes conflict. You can't resolve your outer experience with your inner experience, but you have to survive somehow, right? So it's so common, Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rachel. I want to take, we have more live caller requests. We'll come back for more from the Q&A as well. Let's go for a moment. We're going to go to Pompano Beach, Florida with Tamara. Unmuting you, Tamara. Hello.
Hello, Sophie, and hello, and my mind.
Godelieve.
Godelieve.
Hello, Tamara.
Hello. I'd love to know which Clair is the strongest one that I have or use, and then what is the number one blockage in that strongest Clair?
Okay, so I don't want to go too deep in because we're just doing mini readings because there's a lot of things I look at to determine strongest because I have to look at all the Clairs, right, to determine which is the strongest. For sure. And so that's not fair to everyone here. So if I'll pick one for you, unless you just want to quickly name one, and I'll look at that.
Omniscience.
Omniscience?
Clairgnosis.
Oh, clairgnosis. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, hon. Tamara, let me look at your clairgnosis pathway. Okay, so I'm looking at part of that pathway, and it's actually quite wide, which is nice. But when it comes down, I just want to look into that point where it becomes conscious. Then the energy kind of twists and gets a little bit distorted. So there's a lot of energy that comes up around judgment and really it gets really muddled when it gets down to right before conscious awareness. So there's a part of you that is, it's like, that pathway is nice and wide and open. So information is getting through, but it's right there before it hits conscious awareness, there's like a part of you that is then muddling the information because it wants to, what I call, argue with it, like a little bit. So you want to find out why is that happening, right? Because there's a nice size and flow in that pathway. Why is what's happening right before it gets to conscious awareness?
That's beautiful. I appreciate it. Thank you. I will look into that.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with belief in yourself and what you're, able to bring through, and worthiness around bringing through that information. Like, who am I to know this? So I just wanted to add that. Thank you for calling in, hon.
Yeah, thank you, Tamara.
Yes.
Stay on the line. Let's just take one more reading, then we'll have you share about the special offer, Godelieve. Let's go to Denmark with Peter. Peter, I'm unmuting you. Hello, Peter. Poland, where is Peter? Here you are. You're just jumping up and down my list. Okay, here you are. Okay, Peter, you're on the line.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, welcome, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Hi. And I would like to maybe rephrase it a little bit. And what I was hoping you could say would be, what is my number one habit causing me the block on my clairgnosis?
Yeah, so I'm going to look at your clairgnosis and just look at that number one block. But you're right, because energetic tendencies and habits are something I teach about because they're a real thing. But I want to look at what's blocking that pathway, because we have habits in all of our pathways. Okay, so let me look at that. Is clairgnosis, you said, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Peter, let me look at that clairgnosis pathway. Okay, so a lot of doubt energy comes up. So when I'm looking at the energy coming in, so overall, there's this a stagnation of the energy, in meaning that I can tell it hasn't been actively exercised, in that the energy kind of comes in and kind of gets stagnant. There's not like a flow that happens when I'm tracking the energy as it comes in. So part of that is there's like a resistance energy. And so when I look at, okay, so what is that, to just to kind of put it into words for you, that resistance, when I look at it, it's strongly related to doubt. So that's the flavor. So you may look at, like, to your question earlier, what's the habit that you're in is, I would look at your belief in yourself and where the doubts are. So that's kind of
this actually working, or is it a doubt of my self-conscious?
It's going to be a mix of those two and more. So there's quite a few flavors of doubt in there. But a lot of it is, is this really clear psychic information coming through? And then also the self-doubt is a big component. But there's also doubt that I'm seeing of, like, possibility, what's possible. So that wants to be stretched, your belief in what's possible, even possible, right? So there's a whole lot of flavors of doubts and even conscious belief, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And well, that's one for many of us, right? The doubt.
Oh my
so
gosh,
thank you for bringing this up for Peter. Self-doubt and doubting what is possible. I mean, I guess we have no clue what is really possible. So why not just open to the possibilities?
Exactly. Anything
rather
is possible. Is the mindset that I would encourage everyone to adopt. Because if I, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago or more, like, if I had known what I would be doing today, I wouldn't have believed it. It wasn't part of my idea of what's possible, because I didn't grow up with a background of this, right? So I didn't know what was possible.
You and I can see what is possible, and I have a daughter who can do it. So in a sense, I know it's possible. But
so it's more of the self-doubt for you.
Yes, you know it with your conscious mind. Well, you think you do. But if we had a conversation, I could dig down and probably find some doubts that you even consciously believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you,
for example,
Peter.
A common one is a common one.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say a common one that people constantly overlook is they have this underlying belief, this conscious belief that they're not there yet and they need to practice and develop their gifts. When really it could be instantaneously accessible to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's such a big belief that, I have to work at developing my gift. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
And I invite everyone to observe, notice, gain awareness of your habit of doubt. Like not only specifically to this in regard to your Clair senses, even though including that, but in general, right? Like let's be aware, become more aware of our habits of doubt. I think that can be, and start sorting them out and deciding, okay, I don't want this one anymore. I don't want this habit. We can change our habits, obviously. So let's start by becoming more aware of them and cleaning the house in that regard. So thank you, Peter, for bringing this for everyone. Okay, Godelieve, thank you. We'll have you do more readings. But for now, we want to discover the wonderful offering you've created, Psychic Perception, Illumination, and Expansion. We'd love to hear all about it. So for everyone to follow, you can go on the web to gracefulconnections.com. That's graceful with 2 L's, as in full of grace, gracefulconnections.com/psychic. PSYCHIC, gracefulconnections.com/psychic. If you're on the webcast, you have a button and a link that you can click. If you're on the replay, just scroll down the page and discover Godelieve's special offer. Godelieve, please reveal what you've created for our audience.
Okay, so I've created a program package called Psychic Perception, Illumination, and Expansion. And I love this program package because I've taken like some really powerful elements that are all keys to psychic development and unlocking your gifts, and I put them together in this package that includes a one-on-one assessment with me. So that first component then is the Psychic Pathways Assessment and Blocks Discovery reading with me. So this is a private one-on-one session, about 45 minutes in length, and you'll be able to interact with me and ask questions for clarification also. But this is where I go deep into looking at all of your primary pathways and looking at what's happening in there. So not just the status, but are there blocks, or, what's happening in there in terms of activity, maybe, right? But really looking at the status of each of those pathways. And this is not, let's say, I'm not doing this just for entertainment value, right? This is so purposeful. It's because I want to discover and reveal the blocks that we can clear in the Psychic Blocks Removal Workshop. So in that Psychic Pathways Assessment, you'll have a record sheet too, and I'm going to be identifying all the blocks, that I see that you'll record and then be able to release them in the workshop. I'm also going to identify your number one domino block that really is that key to help you unlock all those other, release all those other blocks. So it's like, this is that domino piece that needs to be addressed first for the other pieces to be released with the most ease. And so then we move into our Psychic Blocks Removal Workshop. And we're also going to do an activation of the Clair pathways in this workshop. But this is a very thorough, intense workshop, right? It's not like a 10-minute thing. This is like an hour and a half or so plus, right? So we're going deep into each of those Clair pathways, and it's personalized for each one because you will have your own list of blocks in each pathway, and we're going to go through each of the pathways. I'm going to guide you through clearing those blocks, right? And then we're also going to do a really beautiful activation of those pathways at the end of that workshop. The next item is, of course, you need a play shop to expand your psychic perception, right? So I want to right away start to do things like retrain the brain, start exercising those muscles, because it really is like a muscle that if you haven't used it for a while, it's a bit weak and out of shape. So it's going to be exercising each of the main pathways. So again, this is like almost a 2-hour workshop, I think, with breaks in between. But where you will be consciously applying your pathways. I'm going to be taking you through exercises to work out your clairvoyant skills, right? To practice all the pathways, right? So you're going to probably discover so much more about each of those pathways in this process and starting to recognize psychic information when it comes in. And so this is a super fun play shop. All different kinds of exercises we do for different kinds of, because for different people, certain exercises work better than others. So we'll do a variety of exercises. And the beauty of this is that you have the recording then. And so you can come back and revisit the play shop anytime in the future to continue practicing, right? So you can use this play shop to continually refine and improve your skills and abilities and gifts. The next item is a class, and this is really a keystone class. What determines your psychic ability? So there are about 5 main categories of reasons for these blocks and resistance in our Clair pathways. And I go deep into those in this class, right? So you're going to discover the 5 major categories, what they are, and how they got there, right? So this class is really important to fully understand what is revealed in the Psychic Pathways assessment reading, because I'm going to tell you where this came from, etc. And so this class in particular is really good background information to understand how blocks are formed, right? So it's great background information in that way. We're also going to talk about how to recognize psychic information with lots of examples and what determines the level and quality of psychic information. We're going to talk about the biggest mistakes, that people make. And so you'll really get an understanding about what blocks access to psychic ability. And in particular, you're going to have your own personal information from the reading with me. So it's going to be a real enlightening class. The next item is another class, and this is where we get into the nitty-gritties about unlocking your psychic abilities. And so I've developed a framework and methodical approach, and I'm going to share it with you, all the pillars that are involved in opening up your gifts and developing them further. I'm also going to walk you through foundational key steps to increase success when practicing receiving information through your super senses. So you'll have these keys to always start with when you begin your psychic practice. But my goal with this program is to really give you a clear idea where you can start right now to start opening up your gifts. At the beginning of the program, there's an orientation class that includes an activation of higher potentials. It's a really beautiful process that I think you're really going to enjoy. And included in this class then is there is an overview of how to go through the program in a little bit more detail and some other aids to assist you, including PDF documents and things like that. And then what I'm including also is a live laser mentoring and Q&A call. So, so this is a dedicated live call where I want to answer your questions and provide individual guidance and insight uniquely for you. So you can call and ask questions about either the content of the program or about your own personal abilities, and I'll be able to mentor you on the spot, answer your questions and things like that. And so I love doing these live. I think it's so essential to be able to ask your questions and get personal insight, right? On this topic of, opening your psychic abilities, it's so personal and intimate. And so I think it's necessary to have the opportunity to ask personal questions and get some answers. Yeah. So that is, if I haven't forgotten anything, that is the package. It does come with some PDFs and resources as well. That's option 1. Option 2 is you can just get the Psychic Pathways assessment, the reading with the PDF documents on its own. So we're offering that as an option 2 as well. Although obviously the package, once you receive or once you have your assessment and you know where you're blocked and what's going on in your pathways, it's obviously really great then to have the workshop to clear those blocks.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. I love what you've created here because it's such a perfect combination of components. There's the whole self-study course, which is not only a course. I mean, some parts are where you are teaching, like what we need to know and understand, and that's very important. But there's also practice, right? So it's very applied, right? There is practice. We train ourselves. It's a course and a training at the same time on a self-study, which is great because we do it in our own time and at our own pace. And also it allows you to make it very cost-effective for us and very affordable, reachable. But with this, you've combined the live laser mentoring Q&A session, so live group call, and the private session. I so love that you've included the private session. Actually, we've had conversations on this. I was telling Godelieve, people need to know what's going on with their intuition, right? Because that's the only way. That's the only way we can make real progress is when we know what's going on, like the whole status, what you are doing through this session, right? The whole pathway assessment.
Honestly, it accelerates everything, right? You could spend decades and not know that you're carrying these issues in your Clair pathways. So an assessment like this just accelerates the process exponentially.
Absolutely. So I'm very, very grateful that you're offering this. Again, option one is the full package. That's obviously the ideal version. You also have the option 2 with only the private session if you want to get started there. And I'm sure you'll end up joining Godelieve for the whole program because you will want to move forward. So for this very, very comprehensive package, it is very generously priced for all that is included and the whole value of this and all that we get to accomplish. And there's a PayPal for payment option available in many countries. And stay with us all along our time together because we'll be sharing a special announcement at the end of our gathering. You will want to hear about this. So thank you for creating this, Godelieve, Psychic Perception, Illumination, and Expansion. For now, let's go back. Now that we know how you are here to support us with our illumination and expansion of our gifts, let's go back to more readings. Let's find out the number 1 blocks. We're going to go to Ottawa, Ontario. On the phone, the last digits are 1072. I'm unmuting you. Hello? Hello, Ottawa, Ontario, 1072. We cannot hear you. Okay, so we don't have a name, so we can't get your reading, right? So let's go somewhere else. We're going to South Africa with Hildegard. I'm muting you. Hello, welcome.
Hi, hello.
Hi, welcome.
Hello, Hildegard.
Hi there.
Which pathway would you like me to look at?
I'd love to know what my blockages are, my psychic blockages.
In which pathway? Your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, clairaudience, clairgnosis?
Clairvoyant.
Okay, so Hildegard, let me look at your clairvoyant pathway. So immediately as I'm looking, there's a lack of permission. So there's a strong energy there that's kind of interfering with your clairvoyance that is to do with lack of permission. So I have a feeling that that's coming from parental programming and societal programming in your earlier years in your environment, whoever your caretakers were, whoever, right? But this strong, pervasive feeling and belief that I need permission to do things, right? And this is very unconscious probably, but yeah, so that's what's showing up immediately in that pathway for you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're welcome,
you,
love.
Hildegard. Thank you.
Yeah, do some journaling on where are you waiting for others to give you permission to do things. Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck,
Thank
hon.
you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good one.
Would love
Okay.
to have
Thank
you
you,
in the course.
Hildegard. Yeah, absolutely. Mhm. You give yourself permission. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Let's go to the Q&A where we have plenty more requests. If anyone else wants to come on the line, press star 2 on the phone or click raise hand on the webcast. And for now, we are going to Paris, Canada with Jennifer. Hold on. I need to get... Sorry. Yes. Jennifer asking for her clairsentience, number 1 for clairsentience.
Oh, good. Finally, someone's asking clairsentience. Okay, Jennifer, love. Let me look into your clairsentience. Okay, so as I'm looking in this pathway, and this is a big pathway, I'm releasing at the back of that heart chakra. So let me just look a little bit more. Okay, so there's this energy kind of deep, maybe deeper than your conscious awareness, but of not feeling completely safe from behind, in quotes. So feeling like you need to have some protection around you because you don't know what's back there. That kind of energy, right? So it's like this, well, I don't feel 100% safe here. And so you've got this energy that's on the back there, on the upper part of that heart chakra on the back, this energy that maybe it's sits about 8 to 10 inches from the body out in that region. And that is blocking some energy, a fair amount of energy. And it also interferes with the whole flow of the energy through that pathway. So it's a strong resistance that has the quality of protection to it. So it's a protective energy. Okay, so that's what I see for you, hon.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
It's safe to be in a body now here and to receive through your clairsentience pathways. Right? That's something all of us, we will get to.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Jennifer, for everyone. Thank you. Yes. Okay. We're going to Montrose with Judy. And if you can, Godelieve, scan or pick one of the Clairs, because Judy didn't specify, so whichever pops up.
Okay, sure.
Your attention.
Okay, so Judy in Montrose. So let me just look on overall which pathway pops out. Okay, so I'm looking at that part of the clairaudient pathway, and in particular, part of that pathway sits actually the throat chakra. So the throat chakra actually affects that pathway quite a bit. And so the thing that kind of jumps out immediately is this block in the throat chakra. And as I'm looking at it, it has the flavor of not wanting to speak it out loud. So that deep knowing, that truth, not wanting, or it's being blocked in the throat chakra because there's like a flavor of, there's repercussion, there's consequence. I have to be careful what I speak out loud. It's not just, I'm not fully able to just fully express, right? There's like a holding back energy that's creating a significant block in the throat chakra. So that's what I see for you, love.
All right. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Blessings. Okay, let's go back to live callers. We have a couple of requests. We're going to Inglewood, California. 3951 are the last digits of your phone number. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
What is your name, please?
Sandra.
Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi, how are you both?
Very
good.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Which pathway would you like me to look at?
The claircognizant.
Okay, so let me look at your claircognizance. Okay, so claircognizance, there's actually quite a bit of information coming through, but where I'm interestingly seeing the interference really come up is this association or relationship with your identity. So hon, how you see yourself, right? So if you're still seeing yourself as, you're still playing small, you're still seeing yourself as somehow small or weaker than you are or whatever, that immediately arises in conflict with not just your clairgnosis pathway, but I'm seeing it interfering with the other pathways too. So there's this, you know, your sense of identity isn't allowing for that information to come through clearly. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, because there's powerful information there that's waiting to be accessed, but it's really coming up against your identity that it's not big enough to hold that reality of you accessing that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I've been working on the belief for years and I'm better at it, but I just know that what you're saying makes, you know, sense because I do have the knowingness, but the belief that, you know, that I can do it is what I have to work on, yeah. You know, just being natural with it, letting it flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing yourself as a divine conduit of information.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Seeing yourself as one who can share divine information. Or even just regular information of like, you know,
right.
what
I can
do
do
you
that
for dinner, right? You know, you know,
I get no problem with that one.
Yeah. So one of the things, the biggest myth, you know, about psychic abilities is that it's, you know, some crazy gift, right? It's really, these are innate capacities that we're born with, and they're not mysterious and impossible to understand, right? But you can actually develop them systematically even.
Right.
And so adopting this identity of yourself that, yes, of course I can know about my life, right? Maybe start with that. And then you can move on to, of course I can know about outside of things, right? So other people or places or situations, right? A lot of people think too far to make that leap. But for you, start with, of course I can know things that are about my own kind of sphere that I live in.
Yeah. That I'm good with. It's the other part. It's good, you know, recognizing me and what's going on with me and how I should be better, but actually doing the work. But when I get information, I totally believe in it. Does that make sense?
Oh, and you just not acting on it?
It's the part of, I guess, making it stronger or making it, I think more information would come to me if what you're saying about my identity, more information would come. I do get information.
Yes. Yes. So do some work around stretching your identity on how you view yourself, how you view yourself. Okay, awesome. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you very much.
You're ready to up level.
Oh,
Sandra,
thank
so
you.
I hope you'll join Godelieve on her program because I feel that you are just ready to go. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra. Bless you.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Blessings to you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to Halifax with Bonnie. Unmuting you, Bonnie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi. So I'm just checking in on the blockage with my Clair audience.
Okay, so let me look at your Clair audience. Okay, so I'm just looking at that pathway and following some of the energy through. There's a little bit of, I guess I would call it like a tender spot as that pathway comes in. So no surprise probably, but you have ear chakras and they are a part of that pathway that I look at. And so there's like a tender spot. And I guess that's the best way I can describe it because it's like the information comes in, but then there's like, I guess that's the best word coming to mind right now. It's tender. And so there is at some point in your life, you experienced some pain that affected this pathway and it's lodged there in the clairaudient pathway. So what kind of uncomfortable or painful experience, did you have, I would journal about, that may have caused an effect in that Clair pathway. And this could be any kind of pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, physical pain, anything like that. But there's like a tenderness energy in there as I kind of poke at it.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome, hon.
Thank you,
All right.
Bonnie.
Thanks.
Blessings.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
sure. Welcome. Okay, let's go back to the Q&A. We're going to go to St. Petersburg with Kova. And Kova asks, what's number one block to access more clairvoyance?
Okay. So what was her name again? Sorry?
Kova, C-O-V-A.
Oh, Kova. Sure. And we're looking at Kova and her clairvoyance. Okay. Okay, so as I'm looking into this, I see a lot of deep experience and insight. So you may be one of those who have had visions as a child, or maybe you still do, or you remember that you can, but are struggling with it now. But there's quite a bit in there in terms of depth, which is very cool. So let me look at, I just wanted to share that. Within that pathway, there is an energy that is, I guess it would, if I were to guess what it's causing, it looks like it would cause you some elusiveness. So it's preventing you from having consistent, reliable clairvoyant ability, but also at this stage it would be causing visions to be eluded altogether. So your ability to see with your clairvoyance may elude you at times. So I'm just trying to see like how active this energy is in terms of, but it's quite pervasive, and you may even have the experience when you close your eyes and you're trying to see, and it feels really dark. It seems really dark, right? So this kind of energy would have that effect. So that's what you want to look at. That's what I see, that kind of energy that is hiding your clairvoyance or the psychic information that comes in clairvoyantly. And I call it just like it's elusiveness, and that it would appear as darkness. So you may interpret that as not seeing anything, but I want you to really pay attention. Are you seeing not anything, or are you seeing darkness? Right? I don't mean darkness as in evil or bad. I mean, this is just so that you can't see the light, which is the psychic information. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, that'll be fun to work with, because you have some natural ability there. Yeah.
Can you see in the dark also? That's what's coming to my mind. Okay, very good, Kova. I hope you get on board with Godelieve. Thank you. Blessings. Okay, we're going to Ontario, Canada with Barbara asking for her clairvoyance.
Okay, Barbara, let's look at your clairvoyance. Okay, so in that third eye region, there's a pretty dense block that's almost like this shape. It has like a pointy part, and almost like a triangle. So there's a block wedged kind of in that third eye region. Kind of sits almost kind of half in, half out, actually. So this looks like this was placed there, and it kind of like it happened kind of suddenly. Some of the blocks I see, I can kind of tell it's been created over time and increases in, let's say, density over time, but this feels like it was something happened that, this block was put there in a quite strong and intentional way. So that's what I'm seeing in that pathway for you.
Okay.
That definitely needs conscious awareness. So you're going to want you need conscious awareness to remove that block. Some blocks I call just kind of like psychic debris, where you literally you can just whisk them away like cobwebs, right? And others need conscious awareness. And it's purposeful. It's because for your evolution. right? You need to have that aha moment where you go, right? And that's how your consciousness expands. When you have those ahas and your understanding of the bigger picture of everything increases, right? So that needs conscious awareness.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Barbara. Blessings. Okay, we're on a roll with the clairvoyance for the moment. We have Maya in California asking for her clairvoyance as well.
Okay, Maya, let me look at your clairvoyance. Okay, so I would say just my first impression, there's quite a bit of stuff in there and kind of floating around in a way. So some of this can be easily cleared out. Some of it needs a little bit of attention. What I want to say here quickly, guess what I want to say is some of it can be cleared out by you being more intentional with how you're using that ability. But you're going to want to do definitely a good clearing of that pathway just to get the energy moving again. Because as I'm looking at it, it's not a whole lot of, there's movement a little bit, but it's not flowing. It's not, let's say, fresh. So even when you do see something, are you writing it down? Are you grounding it out loud, speaking it, let's say, or whatever? Or is it just kind of sitting there and accumulating? Right? So there's not a whole lot of flow I'm seeing there. So I guess that's what I want to say is that a good clearing would be good, which we definitely do in the workshop, to kind of get some movement and flow back in that pathway. It's just like a lot of stuff, not one thing. As I'm looking, there's not like one particular thing that I want to say. I'm just saying there's several things just kind of sitting in there, but they have some movement. So that tells me that they're not super stuck. So I think I'll just stop there.
Yeah, thank you. And I love how it brings our attention to the flow and the movement and the need to express what comes through needs to be expressed or delivered or needs to be put on paper or spoken or it comes through for a purpose, right? So it needs to be.
A lot of times psychic information can actually build up and get kind of clogged there, right? Especially if it's, let's say in this case of clairvoyance, if it's information like a vision or something that has some weight or importance to it and you just don't do anything with it, but it's in your kind of, as we would say, in your awareness, in the background of your awareness all the time, like that energy can actually stay in that pathway and kind of, accumulate and just kind of,
and clog the pathways, right?
Sometimes,
Okay, thank you, Maya. Blessings. Okay, Godelieve, are you good to do a few more readings? How are you feeling?
Let's do like one or two more. That'd be great. Let's do a couple more.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Thank you. We're going to go to France. Let's go to Perpignan with Noelle. Noelle asked for her clairvoyance.
Okay, Noelle, looking at your clairvoyance. Okay, so as I'm looking, a little bit of, so what I see is that part of that pathway is quite open. So I don't want to use the word stretch, but so maybe you've been trying to use your clairaudience more, so I can see, that it's got some width to it. And there's just, I would call it some restriction, tension energy in there. So let me see if I can see through a different angle through your eyes. Okay, so I see that you do actually use your clairvoyance quite a bit, so you are able to see things. Part of it is you not understanding what you're seeing or even validating what you're seeing. And so more of that would be good. And so not to just say this because I'm offering this program, but the program here, you would learn a lot about how to, I call it apply your gifts. It's different from practicing, where you just discover what's possible and how psychic information shows up for you. Because believe it or not, no two clairvoyants see the same way. So there are many ways to see, and unfortunately most people just don't know that, and so they expect clairvoyant information to come in a certain way. And when it doesn't, they just kind of ignore it, or they don't recognize it, right? So, yeah, play with that.
And come play with Godelieve. I think it's time. Noel, okay, thank you. Thank you. Blessings. Okay, we're going to San Jose with Kathy. Kathy asked also for her clairvoyance.
Okay, Kathy, your clairvoyance. Okay, so this also is strongly related to acknowledgement. Okay, and this idea that I can't do it. So that pops up right away too as I look at this energy. So there's an energy in this pathway for you that is, I would put it under the umbrella as doubt. And I just gave you a couple flavors of that. But it's like there's a clear ability there, but that doubt just gets in the way and argues with it immediately. So I see the information coming in, and then immediately it gets like swept away. Like, oh, that was nothing, or that's not what I asked for. That's not real. That's just me making stuff up, right? So it's like it doesn't get a chance to be acknowledged for what it is, and that's really the biggest block for you right now. As I'm looking at that information come in, is that it doesn't even really get a chance because it doesn't stay long enough, because that part of you is coming up and immediately kind of disacknowledging it, or I don't even know if that's a word, what I just said, but it's pushing it away. Pushing it away and expecting something else, right?
Disqualifying, right? Dismissing it.
Oh, that's a better word. That's a better word,
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Blessings. Okay. Thank you so much. Godelieve, thank you so much for all these insights, all the readings. Before we get to our special announcement, I want to wrap up Godelieve's special offer. Psychic Perception, Illumination, and Expansion. You have option 1, the full package, including the one-on-one private session with Godelieve, the Psychic Pathways Assessment and Block Discovery Reading Session. You have the full self-study course and a live mentoring and Q&A call with Godelieve. You have all the details on the special offer page, so I'm not going to read it all for you. You can read, but the self-study course is very, very comprehensive. It includes some teaching, right? Some classes, teaching, learning, and it includes some clearing in the workshop, and it includes some practice and training with the play shop. So it's really the full experience and the full package. So that's option 1. And you have option 2, that is only the private session, only the reading, the very precious reading, the Psychic Pathways Assessment and Block Discovery. That's the starting point. It really is the starting point. I keep seeing a map, right? You get the map, and then you know what's the next step, and you just need to take the steps and start walking the map and into your development and expansion of your psychic gifts. So go to gracefulconnections.com/psychic to have all the details on the special offer page. If you're on the webcast, you have the button and the link to click. If you're on the replay, just scroll down the page and discover Godelieve's special offer. And our special announcement, Godelieve is generously offering a fast action bonus for any purchases, option 1 or option 2, by Sunday, September 21st at midnight Pacific. Godelieve, please tell us about your fast action bonus.
Yeah, so the bonus is you'll be invited to a psychic development small group mentoring pod. So it's something I offer for private mentoring clients, but you'll be invited to one of these small group pods where it'll be specifically dedicated to mentoring in your psychic development. So I'll be able to work one-on-one with you and personally mentor you and help you and assist you with furthering your abilities. So you get one-on-one insight and assistance in these mentoring pods.
Yeah, I love it. So that's one more component. If you take action fast, that's the trick, right? By Sunday, this Sunday, September 21st at midnight Pacific, you add one component, one live component to your package. So that's really cool. And not only cool, it's very, very useful and it's great value. It's a great, very generous of you to open your special mentoring session, really private, very, very unique. And you also offer this, so that's for option one, purchase the full program, but also for the private session. So that's going to be very valuable as well for those who choose only the private session. They're going to have some time with you. Also, once they have digested the private session and to ask whatever it is you want to ask, right? People can ask just anything.
Any questions? Yes. And everyone is guaranteed to get their question answered. So I will, stay however long it takes, or I will schedule, several pods because I keep them very small so that I can work one-on-one with each one. And you can listen to the answers to other people's questions and watch me work with other people. And there's so much learning just from witnessing other people get their mentoring and get their assistance.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, wonderful. So thank you for offering this. In addition, this fast action bonus again expires Sunday, September 21st at midnight Pacific. Godelieve, would you like to share any closing words? You've shared a lot already, but if there's anything you would like to add, now is the moment.
Yeah, maybe just two things. One is that, and I notice this all the time, but in the questions that people ask, I think, everyone wants to know or open their clairvoyance and their clairaudience. And I think there was only one person that asked about clairsentience, right? And it just, shows how there's such a lack of awareness on the clair abilities. Because really, and I've learned this myself, clairsentience is what I call the crown jewel in your psychic ability set, right? In your ultimate guidance system, I call it. It's so powerful and absolutely reliable, right? Clairvoyance on its own, clairaudience on its own, you can misinterpret that information, right? Clairsentience, you can't, right? And it's also, for example, the difference between, you can hear your guide tell you that the Creator loves you, or you can see a picture and showing that the Creator loves you. But how different is it when you feel the Creator's love, right? And so people just don't understand what clairsentience is and the power of it. And I think, it's a shame. But at some point on your journey, you will start to realize that is that next piece that is going to catapult your abilities, because the heart is a very big piece of the clairsentient pathway. And that heart is what really unlocks next level abilities beyond the primary four clairs. It's the status of the heart. Your heart has to be, there's a certain place of openness and awakening in your heart that has to be in place for you to really take, that next step beyond just, using the four primary clairs, but really going beyond that, right? The other thing that I wanted to say is that the biggest myth about psychic abilities isn't that they don't exist, like I was saying before, it's that they're mysterious and impossible to develop systematically. But the truth is, what most people call, psychic abilities, right? These are actually these innate capacities that we all have with actually many mechanical ways of working, in fact. And there are methods for awakening, opening up, and expanding them. And that's kind of where I specialize in, because I find it so fascinating and so rewarding to guide people in discovering that they have these gifts and, they've been there waiting all along.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are very systematic, and you bring structure, and you bring an approach and a whole process. And I feel that this is such a great, tremendous, actually, contribution. And we need method. Yes, we need method. We need structure. We need approach. And you bring that. So that's really, really, really wonderful. And I love what you shared about the clairsentience as well. So rehabilitating clairsentience as the crown jewel. The crown jewel. That's something to ponder as well for all of us.
Yeah, your feeling ability. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Godelieve. Let's all now take a moment to return to the awareness of the orb of grace surrounding us, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have experienced, discovered, received today, all that we're not even yet aware that we have received, allowing it to settle in as we are held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by offering all my gratitude to each and every one of you, whether you're present live or on the replay. Thank you for joining us today, for answering yes to the calling of grace and the calling to illuminate, activate, and expand your psychic abilities. Infinite gratitude to you, Godelieve, for all the wisdom, the insights, the guidance, the offerings that you have gifted us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and thank you, everyone. I honor every single one who has joined in this space on this call. And it was an honor to be in the Orb of Grace with all of you and Sophie Bidard, who was so magical, and I love her.
Thank you. Thank you, Godelieve. Love you too. And we give gratitude to the Orb of Grace, yes, for providing a safe, sacred sanctuary for our exploration. Gratitude for all the grace we are blessed with at every moment, whether we're aware of it or not. Grace offers all the nourishment, the nurturing, the healing, and the insights we open our hearts to receive. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine presence that flows through all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until we meet again, may many graceful blessings shower upon us all. Thank you, Godelieve. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Thank you. So much love to everyone. Blessings.
Blessings. Goodbye now.
Bye.